Dear Journal, 2024 was a blast. Finally got my driver's license, passed all my exams studying something I'm really passionate about, got a job on the side, ran a half marathon, started investing, read a lot of books, started a YouTube channel, reconnected with my body and soul in unimaginable ways. I found a power in myself that I always wanted but could never see I already had. We can be blind like this sometimes. But a question I often get is, how did you do it? How do you actually tick off the goals on your list? This video will be an informative video on my goal setting system, healthy habits that helped me through 2024, and to finish off, a long-awaited book recommendations to put on your reading list for 2025. Hello everyone! We're first going to discuss the Tridant goal setting method, and for that I used my own New Year's goals for 2025 as an example to show you how it works. Most people stop at making their long list of things they want to change. They're probably not very specific, they're not time-based, they're probably just goals on a list like eating healthier, sleeping better. And that's where the first mistake comes in. And the second mistake is that it's just your list. You do nothing with it. I'm going to show you the Trident goal setting method that I came up with like 2 years ago, that I changed my whole life with. It's not very complex, it's not rocket science, it's really easy. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you. Okay, so this is my New Year's resolutions list, at least temporary. It's not because it's New Year that you have to wait till New Year to make changes. That point I wanted to make clear. When you have your list, the second thing I want you to do is make 2 separate lists of the things that could take 1 month and then your longer term goals. I added some time measures, but that's not necessary. You just have to know how long your goals are going to take approximately, and you have to explicitly have 1 month goals. So if you have made 2 lists of your goals, then it's really simple. A trident looks like this, right? You have your middle and then you have 2 smaller points who support the middle parts, right? If I'm not wrong. The point is that your main goal of 1 month should be in the middle, and then those 2 goals should be supporting. So those have to be smaller goals, and this one should be a more long-term goal. But I have to say that I also have months where my trident looks like this. I have 2 main goals that I focus on and just 1 smaller one. Even sometimes I have like stuff like this, but mostly like this or like this. And the point is that every month you have 3 goals that you focus on. You reassess this every month, and this could look something like this. So here I have my Notion. So for this month I have passing all my exams, and I have a time limit here. Then the 2 supporting goals are making 5 videos, so 1 every week. I have doing a blood analysis, so that's a supporting goal. So you can see that you can change the form of your trident, but the point is that you have at least 3 goals every month. More than 3 goals would be too much for your focus to handle. When you're done, this is a second example. So for next month, for example, doing 4 videos, reading 6 books, and a VO2 max test. Every month you're going to tick these things off, like this. Like this. And then you reassess your list, scrap what you have already done. You could keep a separate list with your goals so you know which ones you've already completed. I should have done that, I forgot to do that. But what I do have is a list with all my accomplishments. I remind myself that I'm able to keep my promises to myself. That's how my system works. So I hope this might help you to break stuff down into smaller parts and to not be overwhelmed by your whole list of things you want to get done. Okay, next up is creating healthy habits. I know most of my audience already works out, so I'm going to go straight into sleep, because for me and for most people, sleep is a really hard thing to get right, and it's really important for your recovery to have great sleep. Some sleeping habits that might help you is, first, take advantage of your brain sensitivity to light. I already already mentioned this in my video, you should sleep in a completely dark environment. This means blinds down, no thing that's charging that gives light or anything, because light can go through your eyelid and it wakes you up in your sleep. So you'll have less deep sleep and less REM sleep. So even if you think you sleep through everything, that's not true, because your brain automatically wakes you up at night to check if you're still safe. Even then, a little bit of light could disrupt your sleep. Okay. Okay, so the second habit I want to discuss is sleeping supplements. So I know many of you, especially during the exams, take melatonin as a sleep supplement. But you should know that most of the melatonin supplements in the drugstore are way too high. So the hormone melatonin is too high concentrated in these supplements, and this can interrupt with your other hormones. I highly recommend or cutting down on melatonin or trying to channel your sleep in a more natural way. This could mean blue light blocking glasses, red light filters on your glasses. This is going to be a little weird because you're going to see the word a little orangey, but it really helps, especially if you're working late behind your computer, to still let your brain make the melatonin that's necessary to fall asleep. When we were primates, there was no street light, no tech, nothing. The only way your brain knew if it was night or day is if there was light or if there was no light. Your brain still thinks like this. When it's becoming dark, you probably want to dim the lights, maybe turn your screen yellow, have more candles or like more warm lights. And in the morning, you should give your brain bright light, so the circadian rhythm gets set. This could be a 10,000 lux sad lamp or just like from screens or from outside if the sun is already up. But in the winter, it's a little bit harder. A third thing I might recommend is getting adjustable earplugs for your ears. Especially if you are a light sleeper, then adjustable earplugs will help you sleep more fastly, more deeply, and also have better quality sleep. And also a big one that helped me like huge is to stop eating 2 hours before I go to sleep. My recoveries are so much better if I don't eat 2 hours before we go to sleep, because our system is not being meant to digest when we are in our bed. Don't drink coffee after 2 p.m. I know for most of you this is going to be really tough, but you should check Matthew Walker. He has a book, Why We Sleep. He says 2 p.m. it stays in your blood for 12 hours. Even though you think you sleep well, your REM sleep and your deep sleep get affected by the caffeine in your blood. So you sleep, but you sleep light. This doesn't help you with recovery and with focus, emotional balance and stuff. Try to limit caffeine after 2 p.m. And then maybe lastly, a slightly unconventional habit of mine is to put mouth tape on my mouth when I go to sleep. You've probably seen that in my video. Why do I do that? Well, many reasons, because if you breathe through your mouth, your face gets a different structure, but also you get infections in your mouth more quickly. My quality of sleep has hugely improved by using mouth tape, like immensely. Yeah, I feel way more well rested if I do this. I also had a friend do it recently, but I know my mother always laughs with me. I know many people laugh with me for this, but you should check it out. A lot of dentists also recommend this, and of course Andrew Huberman recommends this. And yeah, I'm not a doctor, so try everything on your own risk. Okay, some healthy habits I do to emotionally regulate myself are journaling, walking, and meditation. Yeah, that's a really short list, but yeah, this works really well for me, especially journaling, blurting out everything that's on my mind, and suddenly it's gone. And also rescheduling my stuff. I feel less pressured by the time. Things I do for energy are 1 caffeine delay until 1 hour after waking to get my cortisol not too high in the morning because it's already high. Also, not too much sugar, walking, zone 2 activity, just outside. Being outside is one of the best things for my mental health, because sunlight is really, it's amazing what sunlight does to your brain. Yeah. Just try it. If you're feeling low, go outside for 10 minutes. You'll feel already a little more relaxed. Okay, lastly, I want to discuss some habit inspiration about productivity. The motivation myth, I already talked about this. It's about you have your task and you have you. You don't want to do your task like studying, and you're waiting for something in between, like a feeling of wanting to do something, wanting to get started. But we have to put that aside. We are adults. We don't need a feeling to get started. So motivation is a myth. You don't need it to get started with something. This helps me immensely when I have to study and I really don't want to, or I have a bad day, then I think, well, I don't need this motivation. I just ditch the feeling of wanting to get started, and this helps me procrastinate a lot less. Then secondly, if it can be done in 2 minutes, you should do it first. This is more with the full circle principle. If you, for example, you drink a protein shake, well, why not wash it first? It only takes 2 minutes, and then all the little things that take 2 minutes are already done, and you have full circles everywhere. You drink it, you clean it, you put it back. So if it can be done in 2 minutes, do it first. And the 5-minute rule is just do something for 5 minutes. You'll probably do it for longer. You don't want to study that last chapter, then think, I'm going to work on it for 5 minutes, and then the 5 minutes become doing the whole chapter. Newton's law of motion probably is going to let you continue until it's done, because our brains really don't like unfinished business. Other productivity hacks are having a dynamic planning. I discussed this in my previous video, which you can find here. The long-awaited book recommendations. Probably all of these books I'm going to read again in 2025. That's why I wanted to share them with you, to potentially put them on your reading list. To start off, I want to start with Dopamine Nation from Dr. Anna Lemke, who interviews her patients and she shares their stories. It's also a book about our dopamine system in our brain, how it works, how we are so addicted to our phones, to food. She even shares stories about herself, her addictions, and in a society of overconsumption, how we manage to control our dopamine. Especially for people who struggle with addiction, is this a really relevant book, and I would highly suggest anyone read it. She was also a guest on the podcast of Emma Chamberlain and also on the podcast of Andrew Huberman, my #1 listened podcast this year. Next, for every creative person out there, I would highly recommend you read all the books of Austin Kleon. And it's all about how you can put yourself out there as a creative. That's how I started my Instagram account, with my art that I share there, and eventually my YouTube channel. It's also very nice, illustrated, it's easy to read. Yeah. The next book has probably changed my mindset the most out of all the books that I've read. It's called Mindset from Carol S. Dweck. Psychology students in here already heard about Carol Dweck, probably. She is known for her research in growth and fixed mindset. This book is probably not necessary to read it whole. You could probably read a summary. It's also research-backed with very nice experiments. If you want to adapt a mindset where you can work really hard for what you do and really bring out the best of your potential, then this book it really changes you. Okay, the next one I don't have a physical copy of because I listened to the audiobook, because it was added with small parts of him talking with the person he wrote his book with. I think everyone on my channel is going to know which person I'm going to mention next. So David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me, his book was incredible. It's one of the best life stories I have ever read. So if you want an application in real life from this book, then his mindset is completely like that. He didn't have any advantage in life. He had adversity. He struggled on every part you could ever think. And he made it through, and his story is just so inspiring. And I'm definitely listening to that story multiple times again in my life. So if there's anyone here who really struggled with stuff in their life, then David Goggins is going to inspire you so much. He inspires me still almost every day. And then lastly, I have the very basic book, but Atomic Habits from James Clear. You probably read this. You should read it again. I'm going to read it again. And it's the first book I read in the self-help sector. I was so astonished about how such a simple idea as forming little habits and getting 1% better every day has set in motion a chain of other self-help books that have helped me create the person I am today. So yeah, I really think James Clear is a genius in how he wrote this book, how you can apply it on so much different aspects of your life, and that's why I think it deserves a place in the 2025 read. And yeah, that's the last one on my list. So I hope you found this video a little bit useful. I'm going back to vlogging next week. I'll see you then, hopefully. Until then, good luck with your exams or whatever you're doing in your life, creating good habits, setting goals, reading books. I wish you all the luck and see you next time.